My sister always had this thing. If I liked a guy, she suddenly wanted him too. It didn't matter how happy I was or how serious the relationship was. The moment I introduced her to someone I cared about, something would change. She'd act extra sweet, laugh at everything they said, find ways to be around us. And somehow, they always ended up choosing her. The first time I was in college, I brought my boyfriend home for the holidays. 2 weeks later, he dumped me and started dating her. She told me it just happened. We couldn't help it, she said, smiling like she'd won. The second time hurt even more. The third time broke something inside me. I stopped trusting men. Worse, I stopped trusting myself. She always got away with it. If I tried to say anything, she'd turn it around. Why are you so jealous? She'd ask. I can't control what guys want. She was beautiful and knew how to get attention. People always liked her right away. She had a way of making you feel special, even when she didn't care at all. But deep down, I knew it wasn't about love. She only wanted what I had. I'm not some shy little girl. I have a good job. I read a lot. I'm calm and private. But around her, I always felt like the dull one. She was loud, bright, and always in the spotlight. I started avoiding relationships altogether. I didn't want to bring anyone close just to lose them to her. Then I met Noah. He was different. Quiet, thoughtful, careful with his words. He didn't push for anything too fast. He listened to me, really listened. I felt like I could breathe when I was with him. I told myself not to get attached too quickly, but it was hard. He felt like the first real thing in a long time. Still, I couldn't shake the fear. I kept thinking, what if I introduce him to her? Will she try it again? Will he fall for it too? But then something else came to me. What if I let it happen, but this time I watch? What if I test them both? So I made the choice. I would introduce him to her. I wouldn't say anything about the past. I'd just sit back and see what happened. I needed to know. I needed to see if Noah was really who I thought he was. And if my sister did it again, well, I wouldn't be the same quiet fool this time. This time I was ready. The first few weeks with Noah felt calm and real. There was no drama, no game. He didn't try too hard to impress me, and that made me feel safe. We talked for hours about movies, books, the kind of life we want. He remembered little things I said and brought them up days later. If I mentioned a snack I liked, he'd surprise me with it. If I had a long day, he would just sit with me in silence. He didn't fill space with empty words. He listened, and that meant more than anything. We didn't rush into anything. He respected my pace. We took long walks, shared quiet dinners, stayed up texting about silly things. I felt seen in a way I hadn't in years. With him, I could let my guard down. I started to laugh more, sleep better, smile for no reason. It felt easy and natural. I didn't feel like I had to be anyone else. He liked me as I was. I knew it was different. He didn't compare me to anyone. He didn't flirt with other women. He looked at me like I was the only one in the room. That was new. That scared me a little, because if this was real, I didn't want to lose it. And if I let my sister anywhere near him, there was a chance I would. But I couldn't shake the fear. My sister always had this way of taking what was mine, especially when it came to men. She would smile in their face and act like she was being friendly. But underneath, there was something sharp, something hungry. Every time I introduced her to someone I liked, it ended badly for me. I didn't want that to happen again, but I also didn't want to live in fear. This time needed to be different. I thought about telling Noah the truth. About her. About how she had hurt me in the past. About how I didn't trust her around anyone I cared about. But something stopped me. Maybe I didn't want to sound bitter. Maybe I didn't want him to see that weak part of me. Or maybe deep down, I wanted to know if he could be trusted without the warning. So I stayed quiet. I told him I wanted him to meet someone important. My sister. He smiled and said he'd love to. He didn't know what I was really thinking. I planned the meeting like it was nothing, just another part of life. But my heart was tight the whole time. When the day came, I brought him over. My sister opened the door with her usual perfect smile. She looked at him the way she always looked at my boyfriend, like she was already thinking about what she could take. I watched her closely. The way she laughed too hard at his jokes. The way she touched his arm when she didn't need to. The way her eyes lit up when she looked at him. Not like a sister meeting her sibling's partner, but like someone who saw a challenge. Noah was polite, friendly, but I couldn't tell if he noticed what she was doing. Maybe he was just being nice. Or maybe he was falling for it. I tried to stay calm. I didn't want to ruin anything by overthinking. But deep inside, my chest felt tight. Like I was waiting for something to go wrong. Like I always was. I smiled, I talked, I laughed when I needed to. But every moment felt like a test. Every second, I wondered, will this be the time she does it again? I didn't say anything to either of them that day. I just watched. Careful. Waiting. After that first meeting, I started to notice small changes in my sister. She began texting me more than usual, asking what Noah was doing, when we were hanging out, if we were serious yet. At first, I thought she was just being curious. But then she started dropping by without telling me. She'd show up with snacks or say she was just in the area. She never used to do that before. She started dressing up more whenever she came over. Full makeup, tight clothes, like she was heading to a party, not just visiting her sister's apartment. She'd laugh louder when Noah spoke, find ways to sit close to him, touch his arm when she made a joke. I pretended not to see it, but I did. Every small moment felt sharp. She always found a way to insert herself between us, even for a second. Then came the Instagram posts. She'd never post things like this before. Now it was pictures of her holding hands with someone you couldn't see, or captions like, "Some people are just different," with a little heart. I knew what she was doing. It was bait. It was always bait. She wanted me to see it and wonder. But Noah didn't say anything. He didn't act different around me. He still showed up on time. He still listened. He still held my hand. He didn't follow her posts. He didn't message her when she tried to tag him. He seemed the same. So I started to question myself. Maybe this time was different. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe Noah wasn't like the others. Maybe he really didn't notice her games, or just wasn't interested. I wanted to believe that. I really did. For the first time, I thought I might be wrong. That this fear in me was just leftover pain from the past. That this was something real, and she couldn't touch it. But then I saw her phone. She left it on the couch when she went to the bathroom. It lit up with a message. It was from Noah. I didn't want to look. I told myself not to. But I did. The preview showed part of a message. "You looked amazing today." I didn't want to say anything in front of her. My heart dropped. I opened the conversation. There were more texts. From both of them. Compliments, emojis, little jokes they hadn't shared in front of me. Nothing too obvious, but it was there. The tone was different, secretive, private, and worst of all, familiar. It was the same feeling I had all those other times, when someone I loved slowly slipped away, while my sister smiled in my face. I put the phone back exactly where it was. I sat down like nothing had happened. My sister came back, laughing about something she'd seen online. I smiled. I nodded. But inside, something had changed. I just sat there knowing. She was doing it again. And he was letting her. When I found the full messages between Noah and my sister, I felt like the air left my chest. They weren't friendly. They weren't innocent. They were personal, secretive, and full of things that made my hands go cold. He told her how great she looked, how she had a dangerous smile, how it was hard not to notice her. He joked about slipping away together. She played along like it was fun, like I wasn't even part of the picture. They knew exactly what they were doing. I didn't scream or throw my phone. I just sat there, reading every word over and over. I had always feared this would happen again, and now it had. When I finally asked Noah about it, he didn't lie. He looked at the floor and said, "It wasn't serious. It meant nothing. I didn't plan it. It just happened." I couldn't even speak. I waited for something more, some real regret. But that was all he gave me. No effort to fix it. No real apology. Just empty words. He sounded like someone explaining a small mistake, not a man who had broken the one person who trusted him. I asked if he had feelings for her. He said no, that it was just stupid messages, that it started as a joke, that he didn't think I'd ever see them. He kept repeating himself, trying to make it seem small. But it wasn't small to me. It was everything. My trust. My heart. The one piece of peace I thought I'd finally found. When I told my sister I knew, she didn't act surprised. She didn't even try to deny it. She looked at me with a grin and said, "What?" He came to me. I didn't do anything. Then she laughed, like it was a game. Like I was nothing more than a step she'd walked over. No guilt. No shame. Just that same look she gave me every time. Like I was stupid for ever believing I could have something she didn't take. After that, I sat alone in silence. My room felt too quiet, too still. I didn't cry. I couldn't. It was like my heart had locked itself away. All I felt was a hard, empty space inside me. I had been through this before, but something was different now. This time, it didn't break me. It changed me. I wasn't going to let it happen again. I wasn't going to sit in the corner while they smiled and moved on. I'd let my sister win too many times. I had trusted someone who showed me who he really was. And now, I finally believed it. There was no going back. I didn't have a full plan yet, but something inside me was already shifting. I wasn't going to fall apart. This time, I wasn't the one losing. After the messages and the lies, I couldn't stop thinking. Something about Noah kept bothering me. Not just what he did with my sister, but everything. The way he avoided questions, the way his stories kept changing. Small things I ignored before now felt important. I decided to look deeper. I started online. I searched his full name. At first, I saw the usual things, social media profiles, photos, a LinkedIn page. But then I noticed something strange. One profile said he worked in marketing. Another said tech. A third one listed something completely different, like sales. They were all under his name, with the same pictures, but none of them lined up. I clicked through everything. Some of the accounts had different birthdays, old posts that made no sense, or photos with people I'd never heard of. Some profiles were private, some were almost empty. One had been made just a few months before I met him. That one felt fake. The more I looked, the more confused I got. It was like he had built different lives for different. Then I looked at his job. He told me he worked for a company downtown. I went to the company's website, found the phone number, and called. I asked if Noah worked there. The woman on the phone paused and said, "No, we don't have anyone by that name." I asked if he ever worked there. She said, "I'm sorry, I don't think so." She sounded unsure, like maybe this wasn't the first time someone had asked. That was when my stomach turned. I started checking everything he had ever told me. His stories about where he used to live, past jobs, people he knew, they were full of holes. I remembered how he never let me meet any of his friends. He always said they were busy or lived too far. I remembered how he'd get strange calls and step outside to take them. He kept his phone on silent, even at night, and always turned the screen away from me. At this point, I knew something for sure. Noah was not who he claimed to be. He wasn't just some guy who made a mistake with my sister. He was a liar, maybe worse. I searched more and found a forum where people talked about online dating scams. I didn't think he was that kind of person at first, but when I read the posts, it felt familiar. Fake names, different jobs, fast connections, disappearing when things got too close. It hit me hard. He had done this before. He used people, and now I knew, but I didn't tell him what I found. I didn't scream or send the screenshots. I didn't even warn my sister, not yet. I stayed calm, because now I understood the truth. Noah was not just a mistake. He was dangerous in a quiet way, and I wasn't going to be his next victim. I wasn't going to run from him. I was going to use him. After I learned the truth about Noah, I didn't warn my sister. I didn't stop her either. I did the opposite. I pushed her toward him. I made her think I was over it. I said I didn't care anymore. I told her they looked good together. I smiled and acted like it didn't hurt. She believed me. I started inviting them both over at the same time. I'd leave them alone in the room. I'd step out to take a call or grab something. I watched from the corner of my eye. I watched them fall into the trap. Every touch, every smile, every secret look, I let it happen. My sister began to brag. She sent me pictures of them on dates. She posted about him online. She made sure I saw it all. One day she looked me straight in the face and said, "He told me he never really loved you. It was always me." I didn't react. I just nodded and said, "Maybe you're right." But I was taking notes. I saved every post, every text. I took screenshots. I recorded voice notes when I could. I saved everything, not because I needed proof. He had already proven who he was, but because I wanted to be ready. I didn't know how it would end yet, but I knew I needed all the pieces. At the same time, I started planting small ideas in Noah's head. I told him little things about my sister. Lies, but close enough to sound real. I said she had a trust fund, that she would come into money soon from a family account, that she didn't talk about it because she didn't want people using her. I said our family had land that was going to sell soon. Big money. Private. Quiet. His face changed when I told him. Just a little. But I saw it. He leaned in. He started asking questions. Casual at first. Like, "So your sister's into business, right?" Or, "She mentioned something about her family having property?" I just smiled and said, "Yeah. She keeps it quiet." He took the bait. He started giving her more attention, more charm, more effort. He brought her gifts, asked to see her more, and started talking about the future. She thought she had finally won. She couldn't stop smiling. I watched it all like a movie I'd seen before, except this time, I knew the ending. She thought she was stealing him from me. He thought he was stepping into something rich and easy. They were both wrong, and I was the one holding the match. Noah starts asking her sister for expensive things. At first, it's small. New shoes, a fancy dinner, a weekend trip, just to relax. She pays without thinking. She wants to impress him. She wants to keep him close. So she says yes to everything. Then he brings up a business idea. He tells her about a new app he wants to launch. He says it's a smart move. He says she can invest early and make a lot of money back. She laughs it off the first time. She says she doesn't know anything about business, but he keeps bringing it up. He talks about it like it's a real thing. He tells her it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance and she's lucky he's letting her in. She still doesn't take it seriously, until one day she checks her credit card and sees charges she didn't make. Expensive ones. Online purchases, payments she doesn't remember. She looks closer and sees her bank account is lower than it should be. She calls the bank, asks questions. She finds out someone has been moving money between her cards. Someone who had access to her phone, to her apps. Someone who knew her password. She goes to Noah, angry and confused. She asks him if he knows anything. His face changes, but just for a second. Then he smiles. He tells her she's overthinking. That maybe she just forgot what she spent. That it happens to everyone. That maybe her bank made a mistake. She says she's not stupid. He says, "I didn't say you were." She brings up the charges again. He tells her, You told me I could use your card once, remember? She says no, she didn't. He says she did. She starts to doubt herself. She goes quiet. He leans in, calm and smooth. Why are you making this a big deal? I thought you trusted me. Why are you acting like this now? She stares at him. He looks at her like she's the problem, like she's overreacting. He makes her feel crazy, just like she used to make me feel. She tries to argue again, but he cuts her off. He tells her he's tired of the drama, that maybe she's not ready for someone like him, that maybe they should take a break. She doesn't say anything. She just sits there, confused, quiet, lost. For the first time, I see her face the way mine used to look. I watch it all from the side. She doesn't know I know. She doesn't know I see the truth now. She used to be the one who caused the pain. Now she's the one feeling it. And I don't stop it. I just watch. My sister came to me with tears in her eyes. Her voice was low and shaky when she said, I think he's scamming me. She didn't look like the girl who always smiled, always won. She looked tired, scared, and confused. Her clothes were wrinkled. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking as she spoke. I sat still and looked at her. I nodded slowly. Then I said, that's what it feels like, huh? She blinked at me, like she wasn't sure what she just heard. I didn't explain myself. I didn't comfort her. I just let the words hang in the air. She started telling me more. Her credit cards were maxed out. Her savings account had less than $100. Her phone had alerts for strange payments. She called Noah again and again, but he didn't answer. She texted him, begged him to reply. Nothing. He was gone. His car wasn't in the spot he always parked it. His number went straight to voicemail. He wasn't at his apartment. She even drove past his friend's place. No one had seen him. 2 full days passed. No text, no call. Nothing. She broke down in my living room. She curled up on the couch and cried into her hand. The same sister who once laughed in my face after stealing the man I loved was now shaking and silent. I don't know what to do, she said. I feel so stupid. I didn't answer right away. I looked at her and thought about everything. All the times she ruined things for me. All the times she walked away without guilt. All the times I stayed quiet while she laughed. Now she finally knew what it felt like. To be used. To be lied to. To give your trust to someone who only wanted to take. Noah took everything he could and left. Her money. Her peace. Her pride. And he didn't even leave a note. Just silence. I didn't ask her what she was going to do. I didn't offer advice. I didn't hug her. This time, I let her sit in it. Because now she understood. She had always played games with people's hearts. Now someone played the same game with her. And they played it better. She looked at me through red eyes and said, He never cared about me, did he? I gave a small shake of my head. No, I said softly. He didn't. She nodded slowly like she already knew the answer. Her shoulders dropped. She looked empty. The house of lies she built around herself had finally fallen. Noah was the one who knocked it over, but I had handed him the first brick. And I didn't feel bad. Not at all. She sat in silence, eyes swollen, lips trembling, fingers clenched. I waited. When her breathing slowed, I picked up my phone, unlocked it, and opened the folder. Screens glowed between us as I handed it over. Her eyebrows pulled together as she read, confusion shifting to disbelief. The first message showed details she never imagined. Calmly, I watched her expression change with each swipe. There, in plain words, were the conversations, my messages with him. Lines where I explained how easily she could be pulled in, how praise made her weak, how charm worked every time, how a few smooth lies, whispered at the right moment, would be enough. He'd answered, She's already halfway there. Another said, It's like she wants to be used. Her mouth opened, no sound came out. You knew? She asked, voice barely a breath. I nodded once. You didn't stop it? I didn't want to. She blinked fast, still trying to understand. It was all fake, she asked. From the start, I replied. She dropped the phone onto her lap. Why? She whispered. Because you needed it, I said. You needed to feel what you've done to others. Her face went pale. You thought you took him, I continued. But I gave him. She stared down, jaw tight, mind spinning. No anger, no denial, just silence. I told him what to say, I said. What you'd fall for. When to press harder. Where to aim. Tears rolled down, but she didn't wipe them. One final message sat waiting. You're sure she won't see it coming? She never does, I had replied. She read it twice. Every word, every move, every lie, your story this time, I said. She looked up. No one stole anything from me, I added. You walked straight in. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just sat there, finally seeing the truth, clearly, fully, painfully. And I sat across from her, not sad, not proud. Just finished. She stayed in her room for days. Quiet. No more loud laughs. No more smug looks. Just silence. Her phone stopped lighting up. Her inbox filled with bills and payment warnings. Credit cards frozen. Bank account almost empty. Noah was gone. So was her pride. No one came to save her. No one believed her stories. She had no one to blame but herself. This time, there was no one left to trick. I watched her struggle without saying a word. I didn't offer help. I didn't smile either. I simply let her feel it. Everything she had made others feel. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. But something in me felt still, peaceful. For the first time, I felt light. Like I'd finally stepped out of a dark room I'd lived in too long. She couldn't hurt me anymore. The power she once had over me was gone. I started going out again. I picked up old hobbies, saw friends I hadn't seen in months, even smiled at strangers. I never thought revenge would make me feel good, but it didn't make me feel bad either. It felt fair. Maybe I should have felt guilt, but I didn't. Not even a little. I had been quiet too long. I had watched her ruin things too many times. This time, I didn't let it happen. I took control. Weeks passed. My phone buzzed one night as I sat reading. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but the message caught my eye. You don't know me, but I knew Noah too. Looks like we both played him. Call me. I stared at the screen for a moment, then smiled. Do you think she went too far by setting Noah up, or was it the only way to make her sister finally understand? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want more twisted revenge stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new one.